Hey, Gabriel,
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
where are we today?
I'm in San Francisco.
And I'm in Chicago.
Still rainy. I wish I was anywhere
Yeah,
else.
well, yes, give me some time. Weather will improve. You're in California.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and pretty soon you're going to be here.
Yeah. Is it going to be warm?
Probably not.
But I mean, like,
Probably,
it's not going to be snowy. We can talk
probably
about
not.
this later.
Yeah. Probably not. To all of the questions, is the illusion that we're going to have on the fifth, like pretty better. But yeah, we can talk it later. We don't have to give like information about our locations.
At least
uh,
while it's bad weather, we can stay inside and spend hours and hours and hours watching Francis Ford Coppola movies.
I mean, we already watched many of them because this is actually the fourth one that we watched, not the fifth one that we watched with Dracula.
And this is going to mark the first time, I think, in our podcast history where one of us says, no more Francis Ford Coppola for at least 6 months.
Yeah, I think that when I picked this last time, I wasn't thinking that it's like, oh, it's actually Francis Ford Coppola. Maybe we should give it a break, after talking so recently about The Godfather Part 3 and not being too excited about it. But yeah, this time, spoiler alert already, is a Francis Ford Coppola movie that is The Cotton Club, and this was actually my pick. The reason why I pick it is because when we talk about Francis Ford Coppola, we say, like, did he do anything else that is really good besides The Godfather Part 1 and 2 and Apocalypse Now? It always comes to my mind, The Cotton Club, that I only watched once, and I remember saying that this has been interesting. This has been fun to watch. Now, I have new thoughts. I have to, refresh how I feel about this movie.
Okay. So this film came out in 1984. I had never seen it. You clearly did not see it in 1984. When did you see it, and how many times have you seen it?
I watched it once. I probably was 2004, 5.
Okay. Since you've seen it more than once, you're going to have to help me with the synopsis.
This was the second time that I watched it.
That's twice as much as I've seen it. So,
Okay, that's fair.
So the film takes place in and around the Cotton Club, which was a jazz club in Harlem, a real jazz club in Harlem in like the 1920s and 30s. This is fictional, I think, at least.
The Cotton Club existed.
Yeah, it was a real club.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I'm saying. It's based on a real club, but the story is fictional.
Yeah, you're right.
So it centers around a musician named Dixie, played by a man that taught me I was gay at the tender age of 13, 14, Richard Gere. And he is the musician, but he has aspirations to be more successful. So he starts working with the mafia that runs this club and other clubs in town. And they help him ultimately become a celebrity, like a movie star. Towards the end they're celebrating his first film?
Yeah.
And things are complicated when he falls in love with one of the mobsters' girlfriends, played by Diane Lane. And I'm just realizing that they paired up again for that movie where she has an affair with a Spanish man, and then Richard Gere kills the man, and they have to hide the body.
What is that?
Movie when it came out.
Well, but you had a crush in Richard Gere, so
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, there's this film runs for longer than 2 hours, and I'm not quite sure how to summarize it because it reminded me a little bit of shortcuts in that it's more of a like there's so many stories happening in and around this club, and you meet so many people, and there's like mob stories, and then there's Richard Gere stories, and then there's the stories of the women, and then there's the story of a singer who's half black and half white, and it becomes about race in parts. And it's not the same as Shortcuts, but it feels like kind of that living film sort of.
Yeah, for me it feels like, hey, there is like a lot of topics here. I'm going to use the vehicle of a mob story, especially coming from just doing The Godfather Part 1 and 2 and just being like his forte, is that he feels, and actually I think that it's like co-written by Mario Puzo too. Yeah. So it's a bit more of a, hey, I know about this, so I'm going to be using this as the vehicle for actually doing like many other stories along the way.
I completely agree. And I feel like when he didn't know what to do with this sprawling story, he was like, let's just show tap dances. Or a song.
That's true. I mean, I just think that he wanted to do a musical, but instead of doing like a musical where everyone bursts like randomly into singing about something that is not related with this, he tried to do it in a bit more of a realistic fashion about like, hey, these are people that they live for this music. It's like how they actually earn their money. When
did the Woody Allen musical come out?
Later. I checked that.
Was it like a trend for like serious directors to do musicals in the 80s?
No, that one was in the 90s. You're thinking about like Everyone Says I Love You?
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking about Bullets Over Broadway because there are some parallelisms with this movie. Let's just leave it like that. It's also like a mob story, but on this one, I think that there are like some comedy elements, but they are like pretty buried in the movie. It's like Woody Allen, he makes a comedy and then he has like the mobster on top of it.
Yeah, and I did find it interesting, the juxtaposition of the whimsy of a musical and then these splashes of like Hallmark Francis Ford Coppola mafia violence, like just and then he stuck a knife in his neck, you know?
Yep. Yeah. Well, you have like these other two, you know, like Richard Gere and Diane Lane, like what the heck, where did we get ourselves into, you know, like just flipping completely about like what is happening.
There's also an actor, I don't know his name, but he's Dutch in the film, because he played Dexter's dad and he plays the dad of the Matthew McConaughey serial killer movie. That guy just says serial killer to me every time I see him. Every time.
But it's pretty fitting here.
Yeah, he's a psychopath. He plays a psychopath super well.
So would you say that at least that part was properly cast?
Yes. And it's surprising because I always thought he was kind of a bad actor. And I was like, oh, he's good. He's good.
Yeah, he's good. What would you say about Richard Gere as an actor?
He was perfunctory.
Perfunctory? What is that?
I mean, he was enough. Nothing more, nothing less. He could have been played by like a dummy where people are just moving his body around.
Like the arms, just like shaking the arms.
Oh no, somebody got shot.
What I was telling him is like, look, the rest of the cast are good, and the funny thing is like, I mean, for example, like the siblings that they dance really well. You can see, and even like the half black, half white singer, that was her singing. You know, it's like the cast was like, yeah, check it out. Yeah, she was good. And but then when Richard Gere like pretends that he's playing the trumpet, he doesn't even try to fit into it. He doesn't. Like, I can't imagine.
Acts playing the trumpet like Nicole Kidman claps in real life.
But another fun fact, the other day that we're talking about The Godfather Part 3, is that the song is actually an opera singer. And it's him who sings. Yeah. So the one that sings on those scenes. So
interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's like you can even see. It's like we were like just like paying attention. It's like no, that looks like pretty close, and then when we check, he's actually an opera singer. Is that he was probably cast just thinking about all of that opera scenes. The same way that I had the feeling that most of the artists here, they were cast because they were good actors, good artists. Not so much about like the acting. I think that they are like pretty functional. Like the siblings are good. Like the girl Lila, I think that it was her name, is that she's pretty good too. Then Richard Gere and Diane Lane, I feel like sure, whatever. Nicolas Cage is unhinged.
But I also think he did well in this role. Like he was well cast, I thought.
Nicolas
Even
Cage?
if he was Francis Ford Coppola's nephew.
Yeah, at least he was not the daughter. But with Richard Gere, I was feeling is like this is a cast that it has aged pretty weirdly, because I'm pretty sure that he was cast as he's a hottie.
As a heartthrob. I was surprised at how sexy I found Diane Lane, because since I've been alive in real time, she's always been a mom to me. I was like, oh, she's a pretty little thing. I say that with like misogyny.
Yeah, all the love. Yeah, but she's like properly cast as a 20s beauty.
And ditzy but gutsy. Not ditzy, but you know, treated like women that age are treated.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of stuff happens. As you said, it's like there is the mobster story about like how Richard Gere gets like just looped into the crimes and everything. I'll bet he doesn't really want to be there, and then he gets saved by Bob Hoskins. That I cannot repeat this enough, but it's like, he used to be like one of my crushes. The same way that you were saying about like Richard Gere, I think that for me was Bob Hoskins.
Let me make sure that's who I'm thinking. Oh.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Super Mario Bros. The movie,
Home Alone.
Sure.
Wow.
I'm not saying that he's a good actor. I'm just saying that he's like, I like seeing him.
No, I like that dude. I like that dude a lot, actually. He was Smee in Hook.
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I remember, if I recall correctly, wasn't there like some kind of
homosexual implication between Dustin Hoffman, who had just played a woman in whatever it is. Anyway.
Yeah.
What did he play a woman in?
Was it Tootsie? No.
Yeah, it was Tootsie.
Well, but that was like in the... Oh, it was 82. Tootsie, okay. Huh. And this wasn't... Hook was 91. Yeah. Yeah, I felt like they were like trying to be like some kind of weird tension there.
Yeah. Great synopsis. You left out the big finale, which... Remember in The Godfather 3 when they kill everyone with a helicopter? Imagine that scene, but add dance.
Dude, we're talking like about movies that they are like unintentionally comic or like comedy. Is like that scene when the Dutch like pulls the gun out for killing Richard Gere, and the other guy goes like and gives like a flying kick in the middle of the top number,
and then it flies out a window, through a window.
It was like, okay, this at that point I was thinking is that this is something that Woody Allen saw, and then he thought that it's like there is a comedy here. There is a good comedy here.
He calls Diane. Diane, what do you think?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, ask me, Jose. Ask me if I liked this.
I'm curious because I said something at the end of the movie that I felt is like, I think that maybe this is how I felt about this movie. But did you like it?
No, I did not. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but it went on far too long for me. The music and the dancing, don't hold a particular appeal for me, but I felt like it went on way too long. I didn't care about the characters. And something you mentioned when we discussed The Godfather Part 3 is like, it's the right tone, or like he's good at creating the mafia world in a cinematic way, right?
Yeah.
You could see that in this. Like you could see the hallmarks of the period piece and how good he is at period, films. It just couldn't sustain a 2-hour song and dance film, in my opinion. I was so bored.
You were bored. Okay. The thing for me that I felt is this is one of those things that as a story, as a movie, it's not that good. Like the script, like the narrative that we are seeing is like, as you were saying, there are like plenty of stories that they are like mixed together that I just feel is like, I don't know what I'm walking away with. Is like, should I be like just saying the centerpiece is the mob story, or should it actually be about all of the race conflict? Because if it was the race conflict, I don't know if Francis Ford Coppola is the best for telling a story about that. But it's the 80s. We didn't think like too much about these things. Like, Spielberg did like the color purple that everyone loves, but still I just feel like this hasn't been developed enough. Now, it was cool to see Lawrence Fishburne in the 80s.
A tiny little Lawrence Fishburne.
I wasn't going to be like center into that, but yeah, it's true.
I just saw him as a hulking homeless man in John Wick 4, sponsored.
Okay, I didn't know. But yeah, I just felt like hey, the musical numbers, if you like jazz, if you like tap dancing, they are really well made. They are.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, and I just felt it's like this is like one of these form over substance kind of movies about like as an aesthetic exercise. It has been not bad as a movie. This has been not that good, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time with movies with characters that are caricatures.
Yeah.
And the race thing was, it wasn't handled as it should been in a post-Me Too world.
I think that it's still not 100% terrible.
I
that
agree.
perspective.
It's not terrible.
No, I mean like the race, how race is treated. And besides that, it's like we're both white, so probably we shouldn't be, trying to come to some kind of confirmation here. But I just felt it's like this is weird. It feels like the main story is the mob, but it's like the name is the Cotton Club. That is a club where all of the artists are people of color, and they are not allowed in the audience. But you still make it about like all of the mob.
The mafia. The white mafia.
Exactly, the white mafia that they talk about. Yeah. So from that perspective, I just felt it's like where there is potential here for doing something, but it almost feels like Coppola and Puzo, they couldn't think about anything that it was not let's make a mafia movie.
And when they tried, there's this scene I almost walked out of the room where the singer who's half black, half white is in bed with the black actor, and he's like, "You can pass as white," and she's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Why do you do that?" She's like, "Because I can," and she's like, "Look, my dad," I think she said, "My dad's black, my mom's white, so what color does that make me?" And she's like, "It makes me a human being," and I was like, "No."
Yeah.
Do you remember in The Blind Side when
Didn't watch it.
There's this scene where what is her name? Sandra Bullock is sitting with her society friends, and her society friends are telling her how kind it was of her to save her, and she says, I didn't save him. He saved me. I had the same reaction to this scene. I was like, no more.
But The Blind Side is what, 2008 or something like that?
Yes, but it's not like he was making this pioneering statement in the 80s, nor was it a pioneering statement in the 1920s or 30s.
Well, maybe in the 20s and 30s that was a pioneering statement, Like,
sure.
Now in the 80s it's true. It's like this may be like a bit, I would say like tone deaf, but it's that you're trying to make something trying to make something more meaningful than it actually is.
Yes, I agree. And that's a good description of this film. There's a lot of gravitas. I think people maybe it's not fair to bring in people's expectations, but like I expected a better film.
To be frank, I also did expect a better film. Is like, for me, I remember like watching this and says, hey, it wasn't as bad as I expected. It was like enjoyable. Like the musical numbers for me is like they work. You know, it's like the kind of thing that I appreciate. That is diegetic. Is called.
I don't know.
I think so. No, it's like the movie, the music that it comes in the context. That is like everyone can hear. It's not because a couple of people went crazy and they start like singing out of the blue. It's a bit more about like, hey, someone starts, sits down, plays the piano. It makes sense in the context. The only thing is like most of the time you won't have to see it for 4 minutes. And in this case, you do have to see it for 4 minutes. So it's a
Which
bit
totally
of
works. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Like you're saying, it worked for you, and I know that particular device doesn't work for me. So
yeah. It's not like in Everyone Says I Love You. I think that he actually, Woody Allen, makes fun of that. About like the formula of why do we burst into singing? This makes fucking no sense. But let's just do it. Actually, isn't his character like someone that he cannot burst into singing for some kind of medical condition?
I don't remember. That
Yeah.
sounds right.
Yeah. Overall, I agree with you. It runs a bit too long, but I didn't get peace at it.
Yeah, for me. There was just nothing remarkable. Like there was no climax. There wasn't like I wasn't interested in the story. It didn't matter to me where the story ended up. The ride, if it was nice for you, that is a nice thing. But I was thinking ahead. Will I remember this? I will remember that this was just the most highly concentrated situation where there's tropes. Like they're like, how do we put mafia tropes next to a musical? That's what this film is.
But and then you have Bullets Over Broadway. But it's not really a musical. There is no music there. It was a theater play.
Yeah, I think it was more Birdman.
Yeah, it was like Bill. Yeah, like writing the play and everything. Should we go over the questions?
Yes.
Could you watch it again?
No.
Yeah, I don't think that I will watch it again anytime soon, at least. Would you recommend it?
No. And not again, it's not horrible. It's not a bad film. Just it's never gonna pop in my mind as a good example of anything.
I'm trying to think if there is any other movie that combines mafia and musicals.
I'm not. Musicals aren't in my wheelhouse, one might say.
Yeah. I think that I would recommend it. There has to be like a case. I can think about cases that is like if someone asked me about this, I think that I would be like, yeah, maybe this can be a decent, like pick.
If you say so.
Okay. Would you remember it?
Nope.
No? Okay.
I mean, I'll remember that it was a mafia musical. That's it.
All right. That's good enough. For me, I don't think that I can remember it. I honestly have forgotten most of it. I only remember exactly what you described. I didn't even remember that it was Richard Gere, the main actor.
Yeah.
I think he's
a lot of those actors are hard to recognize. I was like, that woman looks familiar. Oh, that's Diane Lane.
Yep. Yeah. Because this is a bit of the uncanny valley of the 80s.
Yeah.
We tend to discard all of that cinema. Like, nah, that wasn't that good. Let's just not watch it. So for us, it's like they just grew from the 70s to the 90s. Yeah, it would be like basically Judy Foster from a taxi driver to a Contact.
Yep, that's the film I was gonna call out.
Well, Silence of the Lambs, but Silence of the Lambs, what years?
That was 90, right?
Oh yeah, 91. Yeah, Silence of the Lambs. I think the Contact is 94, 97.
That's firmly in the 90s. We complained about the end of Silence of the Lambs being a little too 80s.
Yeah, there is still like the smell of the 80s is still strong on that one. Do you think that there is anything artistic about this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the pure skill to throw together a film with like the number of extras and dancers and musical numbers and the shots, like this is film like it's a feat. The music was good. A lot of the acting was good, not all of it. There's a lot that's great about this film.
I would say that most of the acting is pretty decent.
Yeah.
I won't say like exceptional, but it's like this is not The Godfather Part 3 that you can just like point. Like nope, that's not good. Here is like, well, Richard Gere, maybe you should have taken like a couple of trumpet playing lessons.
Yes, or at least watch a few YouTube. Well, I guess.
Okay, yeah. Play trumpet champ. But I could say that I really like the cinematography of this movie. I was telling my girlfriend while we were watching, is like I like sometimes that they use like the obliques, like inclinated takes, but it doesn't use it as we usually use it like nowadays. We use it a bit more of the artistic ways of the 20s and 30s. That you will see, it's like, hey, it's like just for building like something cool and having like the counter, like shot to this.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they do it from either side of the dancers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the other part, I was telling my boyfriend, and I had to stop about like, hey, he actually uses sometimes like a steady cam, and then he moves into very fixed cams that you expect from musicals. That is like, hey, musicals is not about, like shakiness or anything. It's about like, I want to see like the full picture of what is happening here. I want to see like the full scope. But from time to time, it's like he would actually move, like only saw like a couple of scenes, like he moves into a small like steady cams and some different angles that you don't expect, like usually on musicals. So I like one scene when the siblings go dancing for the first time in the Cotton Club. There is like he follows them from behind with a steady cam, and we see like first from behind as we were like part of the cast, that they are like just seeing them, and then we see like the audience with a fixed camera, and I feel it's like this is good. It feels like a smart choice and a smart aesthetic choice, even if it's a small one.
All right, look at you, your film theory knowledge.
I mean, I just thought that it's like, hey, this is like one of the times that you can think that he comes from the 70s school about like, hey, I want to be edgy, I don't want to follow everything, and then he did Jack. But is the Cotton Club a timeless piece?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I fully agree. Would you turn the Cotton Club into a TV show?
No.
To go with yes. I feel like this could work well, like with different stories and the lies. You could have like a recurring kind of 40 minutes, like even like 12 episodes.
Like a Glee type mafia musical. Got it.
Yep.
Netflix is going to buy it. They're going to call you up.
Definitely you wouldn't watch it, but I think that I will eat that shit. Like Ryan Murphy, probably he could actually do something here. Is that he would turn the Cotton Club for the queer club, and he's gold. Could the Cotton Club have been a sword?
Do you remember the scene at the end when Sandman gets married to the half black, half white girl, and everyone's dancing at City Hall?
Oh,
and
it's
for
cute.
some reason, there is a woman jump roping right in front of everyone, and she never stops jump roping. This entire film could have been 7 minutes of her jump roping, and it would have been more fun for me.
I had to say, I like that scene. It's very cute, It's like when they're in the station, it's the City Hall, everything is the same place, and we see them like connecting from the previous dance that they were doing. We see Richard Gere's mother also start dancing. It's fine. It's cute. Yeah. For you having a sword, for me, no. I think that it's like, it shouldn't have been like 2 hours and 30 minutes. I have forgotten how freaking long it was. and I felt like a bit guilty for just making you watch like something as long from recently. But you made me watch Revolver, so it's like I think that is fine.
No, I gave you the choice to watch a short film or Revolver.
Revolver could have lasted 24 hours. In fact, it actually did last 24 hours in my brain. Do you think this movie could have been better?
More jump roping dancers.
No, honestly, do you think that there is something?
I think there's nothing I would call out. This just, again, this isn't my wheelhouse. Musicals, I can't say. More like, I don't know.
So for me, I think that there is like a stuff that it could have been better, but it's like I think that the premise is not necessarily bad. It's like if the script had been like stronger, I think that the premise and the artistic sensibility behind it is good. It's just like the script was not a good for actually making this work 100%. And that's good. All. So we scored this.
Yes.
So this was my pick, so you have to score first.
It feels weird to rate this considering the score I just gave The Godfather 4, because I will rewatch, The Godfather 3. I will rewatch Godfather 3, and I will not rewatch Godfather.
Well, you will rewatch The Godfather 3 as a way of culminating the other two. It's a bit more that you need to build up for actually watching that one.
I'm going to steal from you and give a quarter point. So this is 4.25.
It's funny because for me this is a 6.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think that I may be like a bit biased because I like musicals more than you do. I still think that if you only look at the narrative of this story, it's a bit of a mess. But for me, it's an enjoyable mess. I have like a good time watching.
For me, there has to be an extra something behind the music, like the what was it?
That's
Polish?
Oh yeah, the lure.
Killer Mermaids. But that, I don't know where I was going with that. There just has to be a little something extra, and there wasn't here for me to enjoy the music.
No, that's fair. So what are we watching next?
I know exactly what we're watching next.
Oh God, what?
The Criterion Collection just had a flash sale, and we both purchased a lot. And something we didn't purchase, but I really wish we had, was they just released Inland Empire, which you've never seen.
Nope.
It's been a long time, and it's one of the biggest. There's very few that we haven't talked about together at this point.
David Lynch?
I mean, we haven't done a Straight Story or My Straight Story or whatever.
Yeah.
The
Elephant Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Those two, yeah. Yeah, I'm curious because when it was released, I was already here, no? We already knew each other, or no? Oh no, it's in 2006. But I remember that everyone that watched it, all of my friends, that they really like David Lynch back in Spain, they told me that this is fucking weird. This is even fucking weird for David Lynch. So I'm super excited to finally watch it and confirm like if this is fucking weird.
And I didn't do this on purpose, but I'm pretty sure it's over 3 hours in its run time.
I hate you right now.
Oh, I just watched an awful lot.
It's 3 hours. Okay. Let's see how it goes. We have been like mentioning for a while that we needed to watch it. Maybe it's palatable.
We'll see. Until next time.
Exactly. To everyone out there, thank you so much for putting in with us and with Francis Ford Coppola. And anything else?
Wash your hands.
Okay. Bye.